Hello and welcome back. Star Trek Picard, Season 3, Episode 4, or some people say Picard. Welcome to Oni Senshi, and I'm your host, Necromancer. Nice to see everybody who's come to listen. We're seeing you. How are you doing, Oni?
I'm good. Hail, everybody. Thanks for checking out the stream or the review. And let's dive right into it, shall we? So we start off 5 years ago and 10 forward. And it looks like Frontier Day is on the horizon 5 years ago as well. And
right before it, however, there was an opening scene with the Enterprise C, which is very nice fan service for us old farts, because nobody who's younger would realize what the Enterprise C is unless you've done your research.
Are you talking about a model in the bar?
Exactly. So it starts with a model of the Enterprise C in the bar, which was commanded by Captain Garrett, the Pink Lady, who was figured out by Raffi Don't Care.
Okay, so the students come up to Admiral Picard, I guess, at the time, probably retired. He's about to eat his fish and chips. But they asked to be regaled with stories, highlights of his career in Starfleet. And he starts telling them about,
his nice rip-off of the Predator movie, when the Hirogen was chasing him and Mr. Worf turned the tables on the Predator. Exactly like Arnold Schwarzenegger was trying to do.
We revisit the Titan. And they reestablish that the Titan is falling towards the gravity well. And they now establish that they are running out of time. They only have so much power they can shunt towards the shields to keep them alive. And they're going to have to start pulling from vital systems. Riker visits Picard to tell him, the last time these two spoke, Riker kicked him off the bridge. And he told him that he told Picard that he had just killed them all. And so Riker goes and visits him and kind of apologizes and says, Picard, you were right, and we've got about 4 hours left to live, but we'll probably lose life support before that.
It just seems very inconsistent with all of these emotions all over the place that have no control. It's rather ludicrous for military men like this who've spent their whole life on control.
Yeah.
Drama.
It's drama. Later on in the episode, we see a lack of military decorum on the bridge when officers are hugging after there's a victory, So I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's a bit of Kurtzman Trek, isn't it?
Yeah, no. Drek, I would call it.
Yeah. So we know we've got an imposter on board. We know we've got a founder on board. So Seven goes hunting for the founder. There's a really nice bit of editing in here because there are bits where you'll see she goes searching in the Chief of Engineering's quarters. And then there's cutting in between that and a conversation she's having here with Riker, where Riker says, I could reinstate you, but if you keep this quiet, I don't reinstate you, you'll be in a better position to find out who this changeling is impersonating right now. So
I felt like this scene was a little bit of a flip. You would expect Seven to have the tactical solutions, which she used to have in Voyager.
Yeah.
And now it's Riker who's got the tactical solutions and Seven doesn't?
Well, that's probably what we've been arguing for the last 6 years, isn't it?
They're both tacticians.
Yeah.
But I suppose you have to have somebody play the dunce who doesn't know what's going on, which I'm going to have quite a bit to talk about later in terms of Riker.
Basically, Seven finds the dead transporter chief, and she reports to Captain Riker here. And like I said, he decides not to reinstate her so she can root out who the founder really is. We continue.
Good strategy.
Yeah, good strategy. Bev discovers that there is a pattern. She can now time the energy surges that are coming through the nebula. And if you notice her face here and you've ever experienced a Le Mans class, you might already know where this is going.
I would have to say that's one of the best acting methods I've ever seen, which include me on to Oni Senshi.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Very good acting of show, not tell.
Yeah, so much better than, having to have a whole bunch of exposition to tell us what's going on in the background.
Even if we don't register consciously what she's doing here on a subconscious level, we'll register it and understand subconsciously.
So Seven goes to Shaw for help in her search for the changeling because he knows the ship.
Okay.
That's all there is to say there. So
Apparently,
it's funny.
she doesn't. Okay. Sure.
He knows the ship better than she does. I don't know. Maybe
Sure.
she's new. Who knows?
Sure.
Okay. Riker tries to record a message to Troy, and he fails.
So we have a lot of fifis in this episode. Clearly, Alex Turdsman had his hand in that, I would say, which doesn't really belong in Trek. Contrasted to when Riker was talking to Picard a bit earlier, it was a pretty rough scene when he talked about burying his child. Of course, those of us who have seen a child buried, it hit us on a far harder level. Certainly. I think it would possibly be the most, I would have to say that's the best scene from Riker I've ever seen. I would actually have to say, simply because it hit me on that level. And this was actually, if you're going to talk about fifis, this is a scene done right. That's how you hit the emotion done right. This one here, I don't think it really belongs.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you on that. I mean, I don't know about you. Well, yes, I do know about you. We tend to be a bit frustrated by woke culture, right? Where you put feelings ahead of freedom. You put feelings ahead of logic. You put feelings ahead of everything, right? And
feelings by their very nature are irrational. If you put that before logic and you put it before laws, and you put it before reasoning, exactly, and you put it before rules in a certain company or a certain area, it's going to all fall apart.
Yeah,
due to irrationality.
Yeah. So, and we see more of that in the same episode. So moving forward from here, we are in the holodeck. So here we are. The scenario is we are in a ship that does not have enough energy to power the shields. Does not have enough energy to power the thrusters because of damaged systems, the damaged warp core. Yet we have a safe space that is allotted its own power in the case of a crisis like they're experiencing now, so people can go somewhere to feel safe and worry about their mental health. And I think to a story that my father told me about my grandfather. My grandfather was a merchant marine traveling the Atlantic, delivering goods to support the war effort in Europe from North America, where he was standing on the deck and he saw a white trail coming towards him from a torpedo from a German U-boat. Where the hell was his safe space then? Right? Didn't go off. Did it pass underneath? Was that the story? I think it passed underneath.
Yeah, lost power, went under the boat.
Yeah. But oh yes, let's have our own individual power source that can't be tapped into by the ship for the frickin' holodeck. My gosh, ridiculous. Anything to say about this?
That's absolutely insane. When Geordie LaForge used it to get the Enterprise D out of a trap that had been set millennia previously, it was because he needed it. He needed to have it done so that he could figure out a way out of the trap.
Oh, that was one with Dr. Brahms.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So,
yeah. That was a good episode.
Yeah. Apparently, Geordie's daughter is not the offspring of Dr. Brahms.
Yeah, I guess not.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Oh, well. Well, she was married anyway, so, that wouldn't be right. Unless, she was widowed. But I tell you, I watched this scene and I thought when they explained that it had its own power source, I immediately jumped to, it's a plot device that it's not in keeping with where we are in the episode, with the scenario we've written ourselves into.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Once we get past the fact that it's BS, there is a really nice father and son moment. If you've ever sat down at a bar and had a drink with your dad, this should speak to you. If you haven't had that opportunity, it's something, if you still have the chance to do it, I highly recommend it. Because, there's something about the bond that you can form over a drink, just doing what men do.
I've had a female I was fighting with turn around and tell me, "Oh, that's the men's need to belly up to a bar."
Right.
How cute.
Yeah. Very cute.
Well, you don't.
Well, they must know everything about it.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-female by any means, because, here's a picture of Jerry Ryan. Ooh, you're welcome. She's in Shaw's cabin here. They're talking about something, but I couldn't really pay attention because here's a picture of Jerry Ryan. However, in this exchange alone, we come across the following terms: dick, asshole, cannabis, upload. These are just some of the 21st century words that are out of place in the 25th century, which is where we are. That's about 400 years from where we are now into the future. Now, 400 years ago from where we are now, English was literally Shakespearean, where you would see insults such as "thou clay-brained guts, thou naughty-pated fool, thou whoreson and obscene, greasy tallow catch." Thou cream-faced loon. So you can see how, thou damned. Here's a good one. Thou damned and luxurious mountain goat. So you can see how, when you put stuff like dick, asshole, dipshit into a Star Trek scene, it breaks the suspension of disbelief.
It entirely dates this thing. It's going to be bad Trek in the future. It's absolute horrid Trek, which was discrappery.
Yes.
But still, it's going to be partly bad Trek. Picard dropping an F-bomb? Nope.
No.
Nostradan? Nope.
No. Oh, and also in this scene, Shaw tells Seven about the changeling pots for those who didn't watch DS9. Moving on. Seven finds the pot. Here's another picture of Jerry Ryan. You're welcome again. So now, if you're going to accuse me of putting a whole bunch of Jerry Ryan pictures in this review just because of the male gaze,
too bad.
Too bad. Now we find that Captain Vadic is some form of changeling. Is she a founder? It's hard to tell because, if you watch DS9, the graphics, of course, we're almost, 18 years removed from DS9, 20 years removed. The graphics were very different for the changelings. Here she takes a blade to cut off her hand.
And the hand talks to her. So I think that's a changeling that's attached to a humanoid.
Right.
And is always around her, except when it needs to rest in its pot.
So you don't think she's a changeling then?
I don't think she's a changeling, especially since this liquid founder clearly is telling her what to do and telling her in a way that is nastier than we saw the interchange with Weyoun in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, he's threatening her.
Really, when you have to threaten someone, it means that your control is rather tenuous.
Right. It's not loyalty.
So, yeah.
It's fear.
Which is not the best motivator, I would have to say.
So yeah, it's a very intriguing scene, and I really am interested to see where this goes, and I hope they do develop it out. But, after what we saw happen between The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker,
the ruse of Soywoker,
the rise of Palpatine, I'm not holding my breath to see where this goes. I've got to say, I know it's Paramount, versus Lucasfilm, but
but it's controlled by Stupid Hideout, which is run by Alex Turdsman. So
who knows? But I hope there is a payoff. Anyway, next one, Safe Space Holodeck. And now you see, you have this group of people walk through and you think diversity. And nowadays we're trained to recognize diversity. Whereas if we look at a scene from the olden days, original Star Trek, the same type of diversity would be in place behind, like going on in the background, but you wouldn't notice it. But now, because that's all people freaking talk about, I have to say I notice it. So I think I'm a little more sensitive to diversity than I used to be, and not in a good way. I don't think all this attention that has been forced, on diversity has helped the cause at all.
Now, someone would put forth the argument that very conservative people in 1965 would have immediately noticed the Asian Sulu, George Takei, in the helmsman's place, and the black woman, Michelle Nichols, as a lieutenant who arguably is fourth in command at her station, which is communications, which would also encompass Starship operations. Along with the devil face or devil-looking Spock, Leonard Nimoy, showing that it's quite diverse. And you had several female members in the crew, including the yeoman, Janice Rand.
Yeah.
So that, whether that caused them consternation in 65, I really don't know. If there were documents about it that survive to this day, go ahead and mention them in the comments below. I don't think it's the same thing.
No.
Maybe they felt hit over the head with it in 65. I couldn't say that. I wasn't even alive then. But this is hitting you over the head with it.
Yeah. Beverly Crusher continues to keep track of the pattern of the energy discharges in the Space Nebula. And 7 closes in on the Changeling. Now, there is a scene here where she shoots him, and she is in awe and kind of freezes while he has time to regenerate his arm.
Lowers her gun. Bullshit. That's not 7.
Yeah. We understand that we have to show that this guy is now the Changeling, and we have an opportunity to use some excellent special effects, but that's not 7. 7 does not freeze.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot you once, then lower my gun and let you recover and escape.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, maybe if he started spouting Borg implants.
Yeah.
Right? Because that hits close to home for her. But this, no, I don't think so.
You could have done better with that scene. You could have done it in a better way. It could have been constructed a better way. She shoots him. He jumps and gets into the duct right away. She hits him a little bit again, but he's already mostly through the duct. He just managed to escape her. Boom.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Next scene, Shaw comes to 10 forward. And in 10 forward, he shares his trauma from Wolf 359. I'll let you take
now. Yeah, absolutely. Cisco did this so much better in his introduction episode, the first episode of Deep Space Nine. He did it professionally. He didn't do it with such an accusing, mocking tone, bitterness, the way that Shaw is just, fifis all over the place. Seriously, that's not a military trained man acting that way.
No.
If you want to give him that same animosity towards Picard, you could have done it in a better way, right? We've already seen Cisco do it. You're not improving on it by shooting it this way. Cisco was better. So that seems to be what's going on with Trek these days. The old stuff is better than the new stuff.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? The new stuff is supposed to be better than the old.
And in keeping with, Shaw's character, after Picard says, no, it's all right, and leaves the holodeck or leaves Safe Space 10 forward, Shaw calls himself, thou elvish market abortive rooting hog. Oh, sorry, no, he just calls himself a dipshit from Chicago, which is essentially the same out-of-time type of commentary. Right?
Just so we know, Wolf 359 is an actual star. It's 8 light years away from the solar system, which is the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's like the house down the block.
Yeah.
In terms of stellar distances. It's very, very, very close.
we get a boardroom moment. So one of the type of tropes that I really enjoyed from Star Trek: The Next Generation was the manager in the boardroom trope, where Picard would be at the front and he would get opinions from all his department heads, and then he would take those opinions into account and make his decision based on all the information he received. But this isn't really like that, is it? It's just they're figuring out what's going on. Jack is figuring out that these energy surges can be timed, like giving birth. And Bev talks about, aliens that live in the vacuum of space that they've encountered before. There's a callback to the Encounter at Farpoint episode, which was the pilot for Star Trek: The Next Generation.
My problem with this is that Riker acts like not Riker. He's the boob. He's the noob in here who argues with everything. Oh, but it's impossible. That's not Riker.
No.
That's not any of these people in this room. Probably not even Jack Picard Crusher.
Yeah.
Crusher Picard.
Jack Picard
whatever.
Crusher.
Jack Crusher Picard.
Yeah.
It should have been Shaw being the jackass, as that's the role he's supposed to fill in this series. He should be the one who's included in this meeting, who should, I'm no longer in command of my own ship, but these are the objections I have.
Yeah.
It would have been much better that way. That's not Riker to argue against this at all.
Anyway, at the end of the scene, they establish that the energy discharges are like contractions, and they can surf on the one that will make all the space babies come out. And once all the space babies are born, if they divert all power to thrusters, including life support for drama, but not the holodeck, because that's important. You have to have a safe space. Now, to do it, Shaw has to work some engineering magic with the nacelles, and Seven will guard him from the changeling. Isn't this a nice shot? Look at that. Just the hair cascading down. Fantastic. And there's Seven helping him with the nacelles. Was Shaw in this scene? I don't care.
Probably underneath. Yeah.
Will lets Picard have the con for the surfing scene. And the Titan has to navigate the asteroids, like I think the Enterprise D had to navigate asteroids,
which was at the end of that. It was the end of that episode, I think, with
Booby Trap. I think it was called.
Yeah, with the Booby Trap. Yeah.
Back in TNG, we're talking about the Next Generation. So they're, navigating the asteroids well, and Jack is helping, and Picard is doing stuff, and it's all excellent, and it's all really good Trek. No swearing, good music, very cool.
Solving a problem using your ingenuity.
That's right. And male gaze moment. So Seven is she outsmarts, and she's holding the phaser the right way. By the way, have you noticed?
Yeah, that's strange. You've got a phaser that hums when you load it, giving away your position.
Oh, well, yeah. That's more
drama
and lack of logic.
And she shoots a young Ensign LaForge. Hopefully she guessed right, because Ensign LaForge might have been calling her Commander Hansen in front of Shaw out of respect for Shaw.
Oh, whoops. That would have sucked.
Whoops. That would have been a bad choice.
Yeah. Good thing they've got plot armor. The Shrike shows up while the surfing is going on. There's the surfing. Oh yeah, catch the wave. So the Titan starts surfing on the last giving birth contraction. The space nebula is a space womb.
I'd have to say it's actually quite good. Quite good Trek there going on.
Yeah. I enjoyed this too.
I like it. Put that in
grabs an asteroid and throws it at the Shrike. So you're either going to throw a ship at me, I'll throw an asteroid at you.
Very good. Absolutely fantastic tactics. I'm very pleased with that. Whoever wrote that knows their Trek.
Good show. Shrike is crippled and injured, and for the second time we hear that a ship is hemorrhaging power or hemorrhaging something. So they've used the term hemorrhaging twice in the same episode, and I noticed. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I wonder if that's Alex Turdsman again, who likes to have people ripped apart and have eyes pulled out. And I'm surprised they weren't vomiting power. I know he loves vomiting as well.
That's true. And then we get space babies.
Very
Babies.
nice. Nicely designed. Not bad. I mean, what can you do? Trying to show an alien is very difficult.
Yeah.
So what have they got here? They've got a cross between a War of the Worlds tripod with a cephalopod, which would be like a squid or octopus, and it's got multiple eyes. Yeah, okay, fine. Not bad.
Yeah.
And it's translucent. So
Translucent
one would
with
assume,
yeah.
one would assume with the limb movements looking like they're inside liquid and not inside vacuum, because they appear to be resisting something, maybe they don't entirely exist within our dimension.
There's the bioluminescence there as well. Okay, and then what do we have moving forward? We have another beautiful shot of Jerry Ryan. So here's a pic of Jerry Ryan while Picard talks some shit about sticking together as a crew. When we see that Jack spoke to him anonymously in 10 Forward 5 years ago. Picard said he didn't need a family because Starfleet gave him everything he needed. And this is back when he didn't know Jack was his son.
And he seems to remember that moment, probably because now he's an android with Picard's memories.
Yeah, and his positronic brain can make connections that it couldn't make before.
Yeah, so he's not actually a Picard anymore.
No, definitely not. Riker reconciles with Troy over a telephone call, over a Zoom meeting.
Which was
Jack. Jack has a vision, and we hear male voices and female voices saying, "Find me." And then there's a picture of a red door. It must be a door that's lit behind with like a red light. And then I guess that's pretty much where we leave the episode. Picard says there's some narration where he says we got to find out about Vadic and find out why she's after Jack Crusher. And then here's a pic of Jerry Ryan. And that's about it. So my overall impression of this episode, there were some really excellent Trek moments in it.
Absolutely, there was.
Yeah, but it's also littered with Kurtzman Trek moments, and it just
really is.
It ruins it.
Just no good. Get rid of Kurtzman Trek, and you'll be on the right track.
Yes,
they'll be talking about your show instead of saying, it's good, but it's not great.
That's it. Because right now, whenever I see that Kurtzman Trek stuff, I think that he's a leather jerkin, crystal button, not pated, a gatoring, puke stalking, caddis garter, smooth tongue, Spanish pouch. That's what I think.
I agree.
And a whole episode without Raffi. Yes, a whole episode without Raffi.
Nice. Yeah. Too bad we don't have Worf, but I'm pretty good with Raffi don't care not being in here because we don't care.
That's right.
Right.
Okay. Well, I guess that's that.
Hope you liked it. This episode. Hopefully, things will get better in the next episode. We seem to have a break where the ship is passing through warp space out of danger.
Yeah.
So that's certainly a chapter breaking. We'll see what comes up shortly, and perhaps the review can get up a little bit quicker than last time. That's on.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm sure that there's all of 3 people out there just waiting for it.
Well,
with that,
yeah. Please comment. Tell us what you think. I'm just starving. I'm starving for conversation. So if you don't comment, I think thou art a foul lump of deformity.
Thou cumberground. And if you can, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications if you've a mind to. And with that, we thank you, and we shall see thee next time.
All right. Excellent. Thanks, Necro. Catch you next time.
Live long and prosper.